Have you heard of the top 10 paranormal events in China? Today we talk about the incident of the boy in red in Chongqing. In the early morning of November 4, 2009, the wife of Quan Recker, who was working abroad, had a strange dream. Her dream that a man he had never met before suddenly broke into his old house in the countryside and told him to go home and see his son. When he woke up, the more he thought about it, the more wrong it was. So the couple went home a day later. That is November 5, 2009, rushed back to the old house in Benin. But the difference between this time and the previous time was, the front door, which should be open, was closed. Instead, the back door, which is not usually open, was hidden. Quan Recker pushed open the back door. The sight in front of him made him startled. Inside the house, his son's hands and feet were tied with ropes. The whole person was hanging from the roof beam. He was wearing a red dress with white flowers. He was also wearing a red female swimsuit underneath. There was a scale hanging from his feet. Unusually bizarre. Quan Recker went to check, but found that his son had abandoned for a long time. The son, Huang Shaijin, is a 7th grade student at Dongguan Middle School, although his studies are not very good. But like his parents, he is an honest and decent person. He hadn't offended anyone. And the death of Huang Shaijin, it was the 13th day after his 13th birthday. This has to give rise to some frightening reverie. After the police investigated the scene, found several puzzling places. Why was Huang Shaijin wearing a red swimsuit and red skirt? Either was a big scale hanging under his feet, or the boy had a strange little hole in front of his forehead. Where did the small pinhole come from? Some of the deceased's hands and feet have very professional knotting. The dead man could not do it himself, but because the boy's body and no trauma. According to the scene investigation autopsy, laboratory tests and investigation interviews exclude homicide. The death was found to be accidental. Due to the media coverage and the case itself is bizarre. So soon after the police concluded that the death was accidental, the internet and the public, there were various controversies and speculations. Some people speculated that it might be related to Maoshan evil magic, life renewal, etc. These people believed that the killer chose the day of knowledge, which is the 13th day after the 13th birthday of the deceased, to perform the secretary. The pinhole on the top of the head is to release the soul. Hanging a weight is to keep the soul. Hanging the dead on the measure has the effect of hiding the soul. Swimsuit is water honkin is fire crossbeam is wood scale camel is gold. Only let the dead plow lack of earth. Let the 5 elements is a profound imbalance is the secretary veil. But this statement is extremely controversial, because the so-called Maoshan evil magic inherently is a superstitious statement. All in all, the case had been revealed, but the victim's bizarre death has always been puzzling. To this day there is no clear conclusion. Perhaps in the near future, all the truth and unknown things, with the development of technology, will be unveiled mystery.
Scary Chinese Urban Legends Part 2. Now this legend is called Single Braid Road. There is a road called Single Braid Road going through the University of Hong Kong. It's called Single Braid Road because of the urban legend about a woman with long braided hair walking around at night. Legend has it that one night a girl snuck onto a train going from Hong Kong to the mainland. She was an illegal immigrant, and she saw that the police were asking for identification and tickets. So instead of getting caught and possibly arrested, she jumped off the moving train. But her braid got caught. Her hair, scalp, face, skin was ripped off right off her face. Her boyfriend saw what happened and did nothing. He didn't even go back and look for her. To this day, many male students claim to see her at night walking around this very road, looking for her boyfriend to seek revenge. Like and follow for more.
In China, people who have done all kinds of bad things will go to hell. When you go down to the hell, there will be a trial, and various punishments will be imposed according to your crimes.
Chinese urban legend, The Last Bus to Fragrant Hills. This is a well-known ghost story from Beijing. There are many variations of this story. This is the common one that is usually told. On November 14, 1995, it was a dark, stormy night. A young man boarded the last bus heading to Beijing's Fragrant Hills, located in Haidian district. After the man boarded the Route 302 bus, 2 men tried to wave the bus down. The bus driver was initially reluctant to pick the men up because they weren't waiting at the bus stop. But the driver decided to stop and pick them up. When the 2 men got on board, passengers were surprised to see them wearing Qing Dynasty robes, and there was actually 3 men. The men's faces were much whiter than your average person. Passengers were uneasy with the whole situation, but the conductor calmed them down and said they were likely actors who had no time to change. Over time, the bus slowly got empty until only an old lady and the young man remained inside with the three mysterious men. All was fine until the old woman suddenly accused the young man of stealing her wallet. She insisted they get off the bus and go to the nearest police station. When they got off, the young man was confused and angry with the old lady because it was the last bus and there was no police station inside. The old lady finally told the young man that the three mysterious men did not have legs, so they must have been a ghost. She told, "The wind coming from the window raised their robes, and I saw they didn't have feet." The following morning, bus 302 was reported missing, and according to the stories, it would be 3 days until it was found. The bus was eventually recovered in a reservoir miles away from its final destination. Inside the bus were 3 decomposed bodies: the driver, conductor, and one unidentified body with long, messy hair. In some versions, police found the gas tank filled with blood. According to an online paranormal blog, there are a number of mysteries that surround this case. The bus didn't have enough gas to get to the reservoir, and the bodies were too heavily decomposed for the short time they were missing. The blog also claims that police went through the security footage and found nothing out of the ordinary.
Of the haunted love letter. The haunted love letter is a popular urban legend in Chinese culture. According to the legend, the letter is often written in blood and carries a curse that brings misfortune and even death to those who read its contents. The story goes that the cursed love letter is typically written by someone who has experienced intense heartbreak, betrayal, or unrequited love. Filled with deep anguish and resentment, the author writes the letter using their own blood as a symbolic act of sacrifice and pain. The letter is then meant to be discovered by the person who caused the author's suffering or by unsuspecting individuals who come across it. Once the cursed love letter is read, a series of unfortunate events begin to unfold in the life of the reader. These events can range from personal tragedies and accidents to unexplained illnesses or inexplicable occurrences. The severity of the misfortune is believed to be proportional to the intensity of the emotions contained within the letter. Some versions of the legend suggest that the curse is not limited to the initial reader. It is said to be transferable, meaning that anyone who subsequently reads or possesses the letter may also fall victim to the curse. This perpetuates a cycle of suffering as the letter is unknowingly passed from person to person. The haunted love letter serves as a cautionary tale about the power of emotions and the consequences of causing deep emotional pain. It highlights the belief in the supernatural and the idea that intense negative emotions can manifest into curses or supernatural forces seeking revenge. Have you ever heard of Chinese ghost weddings? Chinese ghost weddings, also known as spirit marriages, have been a fascinating and unique tradition in Chinese culture for centuries. The practice is rooted in the belief that a person's spirit or soul continues to exist in the afterlife and has similar needs and desires as those in the living world. Ghost marriages are often performed to ease the loneliness of the deceased in the afterlife and ensure they have a spouse to accompany them. One of the primary reasons for ghost weddings is to continue the family lineage. In traditional Chinese culture, the continuation of the family line is of utmost importance, and if a person dies unmarried, there is a concern that the family line might come to an end. By arranging a ghost marriage, the deceased individual can marry and have children in the afterlife, thus continuing the family lineage. Another significant aspect of Chinese ghost weddings is to resolve any unfinished business or appease restless spirits. If a person dies under tragic circumstances or with unresolved romantic feelings, their spirit may be restless or vengeful. A ghost marriage is believed to soothe their soul and bring closure to any lingering emotions. The process of arranging a ghost marriage typically involves the families of the deceased individuals, who seek the help of matchmakers and spiritual advisors. The ceremony itself can vary depending on regional customs and traditions. It often includes symbolic wedding attire, offerings of food, and burning of paper replicas of money and other items as offerings to the deceased. While Chinese ghost weddings have been a long-standing practice, they have become less common in modern times due to societal changes and the influence of other belief systems. The tradition is more prevalent in rural areas and among certain traditional communities. As China continues to modernize, the practice of ghost weddings faces challenges in maintaining its relevance and continuity. Nonetheless, the tradition remains an intriguing glimpse into the rich cultural and spiritual beliefs of the Chinese people. Have you ever heard of the Chinese urban legend of the painted skin? In Chinese mythology, a painted skin refers to a supernatural creature, often a demon or spirit, that can take on the appearance of a human by wearing a painted human skin. The painted skin is said to be incredibly lifelike, resembling an actual human being. It allows the creature to blend seamlessly into human society and deceive unsuspecting individuals. However, beneath the painted skin, the true form of the creature is revealed, usually as a grotesque and monstrous being. The concept of the painted skin is often associated with themes of deception, temptation, and the blurring of boundaries between the human and spirit worlds. It explores the idea that appearances can be deceiving, and that one should not trust solely in external beauty or charm. The painted skin represents a fascinating element of Chinese folklore, exploring the duality of appearances and the potential dangers that lie beneath a seemingly perfect exterior. It serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us to look beyond surface-level impressions and to be wary of the hidden truths that may lurk beneath.
Get creeped out, let's talk about the Jianxi, which is also known as a Chinese hopping vampire. This is a type of reanimated corpse in Chinese legend and folklore. This creature is typically depicted as a stiff corpse wearing official garments, and it hops around with its arms outstretched, which actually sounds hilarious. It kills living creatures at night to absorb their life force, and then during the day is either sleeping in coffins or caves or other dark places. However, this creature's appearance can vary. If it's someone who just recently passed away, then it might not look very startling. However, they can sometimes look quite gruesome, and their skin is often described as rotting flesh. It is believed that the Jianxi is so stiff, and this is why it has to hop around and just can't even move its arms because it is stuck the way that it's posed, and it cannot bend its limbs. Like I said, these creatures often have rotting flesh, and they're also known to have green skin, which is believed to possibly be from mold or fungus. Gross. It is also said to grow white long hair from all over its head and may behave quite animalistically. The stories of Western vampires brought the blood-sucking aspect to these creatures. However, traditionally, these creatures are believed to just take in someone's life force and not their blood. And this would be their sustenance and would also make them more powerful. Now, there are ways that you can try to prevent or protect yourself from one of these creatures. For one, they're said to be terrified of their own reflections. I can relate. When I wake up too early, haven't washed your hair in a few days, you've been there. Items made out of wood from specifically a peach tree. These can apparently subjugate evil auras and deter evil spirits. A rooster's call might get them to run away because they can't survive in daylight. Dropping a bag of coins would cause the Jianxi to count every single one, which is similar to some other creatures in folklore. There seems to be a pattern here, and I think if anything creepy or scary is coming after you, try and get it to count. It might work. There's quite a few ways to actually stop these creatures, but I'll just name a couple more. You could throw sticky rice at the creature, which is supposed to draw out the evil in it, or you could take a small amount of blood and place it on the creature's forehead. So the origin story here is pretty creepy and odd. There was a folk practice when someone's relative died far away, where they would hire a priest to basically bring this creature back to life and turn it into a Jianxi so that it could hop all the way to the family so they could bury the deceased person. The priest would transport the bodies at night, so I'm not sure if they would just it would hop in the middle and they would walk along, that would be pretty weird. But they would ring bells while they made this trek so that others in the area would know not to look in the direction because it was said to be bad luck to lay your eyes upon the Jianxi. Another cause of the origin story, though, might be that they actually tied the corpse to bamboo sticks, basically, and would carry the body upright. So it appeared to be hopping, but it wasn't. There have been a couple of reported stories of people seeing these creatures. There's also speculation that these creatures were made up so that smugglers could just ring bells as they were going along and doing their illegal activities, and then no one would want to look at them, which is brilliant. Anyway, see you next time.
There is something you can't do according to the traditional Chinese culture. Number 6. Do not pass things through the windows. Passing things through the window looks bad is because this would only happen in prison back in the day. When people receive things through the window, it looks like a prisoner receiving things from their family and friends. And this will cause bad luck because you don't want to be seen as a prisoner, right?
Scary Chinese Urban Legends Part 1. Now this is the story of bus 375. Now this is the story about a bus in Beijing that disappears on a cold November night. The story goes like this. There's a bus. Inside the bus is a driver, a conductor, and 4 passengers. All this happening at midnight. During the bus ride, the bus picks up 2 strange men, and they were holding up a 3rd guy by his arms. They made their way to the back of the bus and sat in silence. One of the passengers was an elderly woman, and the 2 mysterious strange guys made her very uncomfortable. So she caused the scene and forced the conductor to let all 4 passengers and her off the bus. She later then said that she felt that those 2 strange men were ghosts and that something bad was going to happen to the bus. The next morning, the bus was underwater, and the bodies of the conductor, the driver, and the 3 unidentified men were found. Like and follow for more.
Chinese Goat Man. Deep within the folds of Chinese folklore lies the haunting tale of the goat demon. Born from ancient legends and whispered through generations, this malevolent creature manifests as a grotesque fusion of goat and man. With eyes like smoldering embers and a twisted visage that strikes terror into the souls of all who encounter it, the goat demon prowls under the cloak of darkness. Moonless nights become its theater of malevolence as bone-chilling howls rend the tranquil air. Its insatiable hunger for souls drives it to stalk unsuspecting victims, feasting upon their life essence to sustain its wicked existence. A creature of nightmares, it embodies the primal fears of humanity, forever etched within the annals of folklore's darkest pages. Beware the shadowed corners where this demonic entity may lurk, for its legend endures, a chilling reminder that some horrors transcend time and continue to haunt our collective imagination.